It's hard to keep any Playboy magazine from being borrowed, but with our giant holiday issue, it's going to be hotter than ever. There's a revealing interview with wild and crazy Steve Martin.
Look out! Skylab's back! Ah!
A big pictorial on the incredible pajama party at Playboy Mansion West. And not one, but 12 beautiful playmates in our annual Playmate Review. So pick up the January Playboy today. And don't let it out of your sight.
Our big holiday issue at newsstands now.
Sit down and don't worry.
You wait online to die.
Oh, now don't worry. Dr. Shapiro says it ain't serious and he ain't worried.
Yeah, well, if Shapiro was having the operation, I wouldn't worry.
Are they gonna take out your whole gallbladder or just the stones?
I don't know, Edith, but these doctors, once they cut you open, they start rooting around your guts. They take out anything they can put on a bill.
Don't even think about them cutting you open.
I'll do that. I will do that. Stop being nervous yourself. You're the one that's making me nervous. Don't think about me. Don't think about nothing there. Just look off into the distance or something there. Yeah. Read a magazine.
All right. Maybe I shouldn't look at this one, or I should...
Read it.
Hello everybody, this is Richard Stashy of Tankard of Tales, and this is a Un-Tankard episode. And today's episode is going to be Jack in the Playgirl Magazine. And wow, this is a very complicated subject matter. I'm going to be reading off of my notes. I am going to insert some of my opinions. And I am also going to read a few articles, as well as have those articles posted into the comments, posted in the description below for you. So let's go at it. Now I'm going to bring it up over here with a little click of the button. Boom. Alright. I'm going to talk about the Playgirl Magazine, and I'm going to try to be open-minded on the subject. Alright? I do find the internet assumption of the single article within the magazine to connect to the bear costume scene kind of lazy. That's this one over here. I like to say 99% of the no ghost theory that points that Jack is doing something bad is also the focus of this one little article right here, because Jack happens to be reading this magazine, and a lot of people say like, well, Jack has issues. Well, and then the other amazing argument that I ran across is that Jack brought this magazine to the Overlook, and there's no way that the hotel would have such a magazine. And I just want to say that this kind of tells me that the people that are talking about this, writing blogs or posting it in comments, are like born in the 1990s or later. Believe it or not, Playboy and Playgirl were considered lifestyle magazines. Now, a lifestyle magazine is a magazine, as the name suggests, is concerned with the lifestyle of a man, of men, women, or both, and includes articles and editorials in the area of travel, fashion, trends, food, pop culture, and more. Now, if you just glance at this magazine over here, you'll notice that it has a few other articles here, like such as a new 7-day wonder diet, or how your tax dollars give new identities to convicted criminals. Or then there's TV commercials. Celebrities pick their favorites. Now, as well as there's also an interview with David So. So, this is what it means by as a lifestyle magazine. Now, sure enough, there are some of the similarities between Vogue and Playboy, and there's major differences too. Now, the similarities is, once again, new 7-day wonder diet. You'll probably see it in a Playgirl magazine. You'll also probably see it in a Vogue magazine. Alright, major differences. I hope I don't need to explain the differences between a Playgirl and Vogue. So, I think I'll just leave it like there. Now, when I was growing up from the 1970s to the 1980s, I was like 10 years old in 1980, and I would see these type of magazines in the stores, at the library, in the barbershop, in the All in Family episode, as I pointed out, there was a magazine in the doctor's office. Alright, and then you wonder, like, why? And most people would wonder why today, and then it's like, well, what is it? Because the nation was a bunch of perverts? Well, that's a maybe, but not really. Or maybe it's because the magazine has interesting articles. And this is where the joke comes from. I'm reading it for the articles. And if you ever heard about... Alright, I'm going to start with this one over here by the Hundreds. The article in this case is called Reading Playboy for the Articles, 13 Essential Journalism and Literature Pieces from Playboy Magazine. And it starts off saying, long ago when Playboy Magazine still contained nudity, the common refrain employed to those that caught with the magazine was that they were merely reading it for the articles. While this excuse was nothing more than a desperate huff for horny teens caught under the mattress cliche, for a decent percentage of the readership that the claim actually held water. Now, there's a reason for that too, and I'll cover it on this part. It says right here that what might get lost with the tornado of centerfolds, airbrush, nudity, we came to associate with the magazine is that Playboy once boasted some of the best literature and journalistic work ever committed to ink and paper, on par with the likes of Esquire, Good Housekeeping, and The New Yorker. Hugh Hefner's Man's Magazine quickly established itself as an editorial powerhouse by paying its contributing writers triple that of its competitors. And that's the key element. He literally paid triple what the others would pay. So that's why this claim actually holds some water. And in a quick glance, you'll see some of the articles that this one is talking about. I'll just do a little scroll down for you guys to look at. This will save me a lot of trouble instead of butchering everything about it. Before I get into a deep dive about the context of the magazine, let's review the scene. First, in the background, we can assume that Jack unloaded the car while Wendy and Danny were going to the bathroom. Okay, the second part is that the hotel owns the magazine. It's easy to establish when Jack drops the magazine without the thought of ownership. If he brought the magazine, he would not leave the magazine behind. Also note that the Playgirl magazine is from January 1978 issue, and Jack and the family arrive at the Overlook in October 31st. And you can see it right here in January 1978. So let's talk about the magazine. Alright, I want to have this article in the description. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm probably going to read like a paragraph and a little bit of it. I tried it one other time and then scrolled, and I just, even though the images are censored in this article, I still think it's a little bit too saucy to play. So, I mean, this top part over here is, I feel a little bit saucy as it is. Even though I want to give you a look like there's like this over here, and then there's this image over here, then you got this image over there. So it's not all like half naked guys in the magazine cover. So it's very important to point out. Alright, I'm going to go with the rise and fall of Playgirl. It was supposed to be a ranchy, revolutionary magazine for women. It didn't exactly turn out that way. Douglas Lambert wanted to give Playboy a run for its money. It was 1971, and Hugh Hefner's magazine had created a new mainstream market for the softcore industry. Lambert, a nightclub owner in the Garden Grove, California, decided to get in on the action. Lambert's wife Jenny saw a bigger opportunity: a magazine with nude male centerfolds. Lambert wasn't sold. What woman wanted to oogle photos of a nude man, much less buy a magazine full of them? But he slowly realized Jenny might be on to something. And then it goes on about talking about the sexual revolution of the 70s, and this is as much as I'm going to really show. So if you really want to read the article, I definitely will have it in the description for you guys. It is, I mean, there is nothing really hardcore on the there's nothing hardcore on the article, but it's just, I don't really want to run the risk. I am running a risk as it is with this topic I'm talking about. This is be about there. Okay, this is going to be about the articles. The first article on the cover is David So. David So is acting in Stephen King's novel turned miniseries called Salem's Lot. I'll have the link in the description with the article. Okay, unfortunately, the article does not talk about Salem's Lot, but I would believe by the time this magazine was published, David So was working or known to be working in Salem's Lot. I personally believe the David So reference is a nod to Stephen King. The reference, to those who just watched Salem's Lot and slightly connect the dots, that Jack, Wendy, and Danny in the Shining 1980 movie is part of a reality, and the characters in the book are not. Possible that Wendy Torrance read a Stephen King's book. Now, second article, and it's the most heated one. Alright, well, this one is the one that says incest, and it asks why parents sleep with their children. And this is how people connect the dots, that Jack is some crazy pervert and doing bad things with Danny, even though the cover says parents and the table of contents, it's called Breaking the Ultimate Taboo, an investigative report. It's a rough topic, and I believe the creators of the magazine were in good intentions. I have not read it because I do not want to spend the money for the PDF copy. Currently, this PDF copy is like $150 if you want a PDF copy. Sure, one could assume that the article is telling the audience that Jack is a pervert, or in the closet, or something else. The article could be foreshadowing. Maybe one of the parents is molesting Danny, suggesting Wendy will, and that's because Jack is reading the article to educate himself about such activities. The article could be a red herring. Neither parent is doing anything bad to Danny, and no one is keeping that in mind. The third article on the cover talks about the 7-day wonder diet. Maybe it's a jab at Stanley Kubrick. He looks kind of chubby during the filming. The fourth article, Do You Communicate in Bed?, could suggest a romantic issue between Jack and Wendy. In fact, we never see the two in any romantic terms. Maybe the magazine is trying to tell Jack something about the relationship. The fourth article is about the tax dollars and criminals. This seems to be the banking scandal sub-theme within the movie. I have not been following a banking scandal subtext, but apparently there is some type of background theme about it, and maybe this is a connection to it. The sixth article, Favored Commercials, depending on the celebrity and the commercials, I guess. I myself is interested with the article. Also, a typical fun read while waiting. Naturally, if you have such information, please post it. I'm not paying the $100 for the source material, or in this case $150 for the source material. Also, I found out that Stanley Kubrick likes commercials. The last article is Avoiding a Dead Affair. This could suggest that Jack is interested in someone else and why he shouldn't take that next step. Maybe. Alright. This is from the article 13 Things You Didn't Know About Stephen King. And I guarantee we all know about this, but I just wanted to post an article that I can use as a source. Alright. Number 13. He is a longtime contributor to porn magazines. Throughout the 1970s, King published stories in Playboy, Penthouse, Atom, and others. These stories have since been brought together and published as a potential tongue-in-cheek night shift short story collection. That, however, is not the end of his foray into the risque end of the literary scene. Playboy have long been known as provocateurs in the arts, publishing such heavyweights as Vladimir Nabokov. Yeah, I said it right. Vladimir Nabokov and Margaret Atwood, and has maintained a long relationship with King since his first interview for them in 1983. As recently as 2009, King has had pieces published with the porn titan, securing a rare spot of narrative poetry, The Bone Church, in that year's November's edition. Alright, so it's all established now that Stephen King is known for publishing into the porn magazines. Final thoughts. I got the feeling that the Playgirl magazine was chosen because of the discreet cover, and it could suggest multiple theories. I think the placement of the adult magazine was intended to be a nod to Stephen King. The author started his career by selling horror stories to adult magazines. And because in the book, Jack sold a short story to a adult magazine, not a softcore or hardcore magazine either, just an adult magazine, and got drunk. It's also possible that the magazine was picked because of the cover articles. Article number 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Wow, that's a lot of articles. And the party theme cover. Seems too much of a coincidence. Anyway, what are your thoughts? This is from The Shining book. I just wanted to read this. That first year of marriage after Danny was born had been the best of Wendy and Jack's relationship. Jack drank, but not yet in excess, and he easily landed a job at Stonington after graduating school. He was hired mostly due to his successful short stories, one of which he sold to Esquire for $900. The night that Jack sold the Esquire story, he went out with his friends and got terribly drunk. When he came home late that night, he was stumbling and woke Danny. Jack went to his crib to soothe him and dropped the baby on the floor. It was all downhill from there. By the time Jack broke Danny's arm, Wendy had been seriously thinking about divorce for over 6 months. I want you to think about that. She was thinking about divorcing the jerk off over 6 months. Yet Stephen King says that his Wendy is the strongest Wendy. But she couldn't bring herself to say the word. Jack drank all day, every day, and weekends with Elle were even worse. Wendy was in constant pain. She couldn't help but wonder how much of Jack's drinking and their problems was her fault. She dreaded the day Danny would grow up and begin to assign blame for everything. Wendy knew she had to leave Jack. He was a drunk with a horrible temper, and whether it was an accident or not, he broke Danny's arm. Yet, she did not leave him. Keep that in mind. So, there's a lot to say about this passage. A lot to say about this in the book, I didn't really think Wendy was a strong character, and then after reading into this thing, I do not understand what the hell Stephen King is talking about, that his character Wendy is the strongest one between his Wendy versus Stanley Kubrick's Wendy. I mean, if she was very strong, she would have left him the moment he dropped the baby on the floor. I'm sorry. There's no reason for it. And then there would be no story. Or maybe it would be a story. Maybe The Shining would be about Jack working in the Overlook Hotel by himself. Although this would be more closer to like Evil Dead 2. It's just a thought. Anyway, this is Richard Stashy from Tankard Tales. And this is an Un-Tankard episode. And I'm just trying to have fun with this. And I hope this we're able to add some stuff to the comments. Thank you.